Well, you would
I
have
would
to get
enjoy
back into
that.
MMOs in general, Nathan.
Yeah, I have trouble with them. I've thought about Eve at some point, like maybe tooling around in that, but I
It's
don't
free.
know. It is
I've
free.
been playing a bit of Eve lately, just because I can.
I hear that in this very snowy weather, a blizzard has rollen in.
That's where you're going with that. Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, BlizzCon just happened, and I know you're not huge on keeping up with the stuff Blizzard does, and a lot of people don't care. But that's fine. That's fine. BlizzCon happens, and we got announcements for things such as Diablo and
Yes.
maybe StarCraft. I don't know. I didn't watch all of it. Let's be real. I did not watch all of it. I was mainly there for the Warcraft stuff.
Yeah, I have heard that you frequent the World of Warcraft.
We've got a new expansion coming out next year. Because they have their cycle actually has been every 2 years as new expansion.
Sure.
I did not realize it was that frequent.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back at how many expansions there are, that should make sense, but I never did the math.
Okay.
So currently, from stuff I've listened to and whatnot, they're pretty much done with all the content they had backlogged up from all the RTS games. Anything they could pull from the RTS games, they're done with it. There's nothing that is left to pull from Warcraft 1, 2, 3 to Frozen Throne and whatnot.
Sure. Okay.
So they're now in a spot where they're doing completely new stories. What was unprecedented was they announced their new expansion. They didn't just say, hey, our next expansion is this one game. They went, hey, our new expansion is actually going to be a thing called the Worldsoul Saga. It says, what does it say? World of Warcraft Worldsoul Saga, a brand new adventure 20 years in the making, because WoW is turning 20 next year.
Nice.
And what this is a set of 3 expansions to cover one storyline.
Okay. 3 expansions for one storyline.
Yes. And so this is interesting because they've never done that. Every expansion they have done so far has been its own kind of self-contained story. They might build off of and touch and play a little bit with the other ones, but most of the time it has been like Burning Crusade. You played during that.
Yes.
We're going to Outland. We're fighting the Burning Legion. And after Burning Crusade was done, they went for Wrath of the Lich King. We're going to Northrend. We're fighting the Lich King. Yep. Separate stories, separate enemies. Nothing really interplayed between the two. We went back and fought the Burning Crusade again in Legion.
Sure.
Years later. But it wasn't like the same story. It was just like, oh, they came back. This is a story that builds off of a different one. In this case, the Worldsoul Saga, we're starting with the War Within, which is going to be like underground, subterranean stuff.
Okay.
Then we go to Midnight, World of Warcraft Midnight, which seems to be void-based. There's been a lot of that going on because old gods and stuff. There has been a lot of that recently in WoW. But also, what they're doing with Midnight is a revamp of Kal Thalas, which is the starting zone for the Blood Elves. Silvermoon City and stuff. It was basically destroyed, and the Sunwell, I think, was corrupted. And
as they do.
Yeah. So they're doing a revamp of that, which came out during Burning Crusade.
Okay.
And so that one's interesting. And the last one is World of Warcraft: The Last Titan, and allegedly, we're going back to Northrend.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
We don't know the story itself. I know the cinematic trailer was kind of emotional and interesting, and it plays off the end of Legion, where the Titan had stabbed the sword into Azeroth, and kind of, it's been there since Legion, just a giant sword sticking out of the ground.
Sure.
And so in the cinematic, they're looking at it, and he's like, Thrall's like, who are we getting these? They're getting visions from Azeroth or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the heck? We don't know what's going on. And Thrall's kind of like, I don't know, but you know what I do know is that sword was aimed at something. And so with a name of the Worldsoul Saga and a lot of stuff that's been going on in this current story, dealing with the Titans and Azeroth's soul, essentially, because it's, a living entity kind of deal. It's really interesting to me that they're doing a three arc trilogy for this, because they haven't done it before, and I'm thinking it will give the story a lot more time to be told. And the cycle they do these in the 2 years, they kind of push the story to a breakneck pace for a lot of it and don't space it out quite enough. Where especially if you're coming into it, you go, hey, I just started, I'm doing the story for the first time, and this has been out for a year already, and then the story goes, cool. Oh, you hit the max level? Yeah, everything that's been going on the last year is now open to you. It doesn't matter the sequence that these came out in, everything is now on the table for you, and we're not going to tell you which one of these came first.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned that before, and I started to kind of get a little trepidatious about ever going back to World of Warcraft because of just the immensity of how many different things there are and getting lost in the different storylines. So is this really going to fix it? I guess that's the thing I'm wondering. Like, if I came in and they had just started this story, is it going to be something like that is kind of self-contained as like a 3-story arc?
I'm hoping it'll be enough there for a 3-story arc, especially with them doing it in this fashion, that I'm hoping you won't get lost. Like, not you personally, but I'm hoping that anyone coming into the game for this and like not having a lot of backstory to it, I'm hoping that it will be, hey, here's what's going on, here's what we're gonna do, and like tell the story through and not assume you know all of the 20 years of information behind it.
Sure.
Because that's even like Crave has said, because she plays a bit with me, and she said the issue I have is that they assume I know all of these characters and places, and I have no idea who anyone is.
Since you have a 20-year history here of the game itself, that's one thing, but then of course the history of the world itself that they've built, which is much larger and longer. It's a lot to take in, especially for new players that might be getting into it.
I feel like that's the biggest issue WoW has in general, is that the game is fun. The gameplay is decent. They've made it's more fun than I think it's ever been. They've been working class overworks for this expansion. The flying overhaul has been great. How the game feels to play is great. I think they need to work on the pacing and the way they tell the stories, because they do tell interesting stories. But I think that the demand of an MMO being a live service game and needing to push out constant updates makes it so that the way they tell the stories isn't always ideal for cohesion.
Right.
That being said, I'm excited. I've never seen them do a 3-arc story this way.
Are they trying to jump on the whole trilogy thing of like getting out 3 pieces?
I think what they're trying to do is put all the cards on the table. They have a new creative director for WoW, Chris Metzen, if you're familiar with the name.
Not really.
So he is the iconic voice of Thrall. He was the voice of Varian Wren. Varian died. I think he was maybe Uther, who also died in Legion.
He'll come back. He'll come back.
So they killed off or downplayed a bunch of the characters he voiced because he had left Blizzard back in like 2016. He was burnt out. He was doing stuff for WoW, StarCraft, maybe StarCraft, WoW, Overwatch, and Diablo at least, and was burnt out. So he quit. He is now back in the sole position of like lead of World of Warcraft. He is just in charge. The creative director, I believe.
Okay.
And so, like, he was originally one of the people that was on the Warcraft team at the core
Sure.
forever ago. And so, with him back, like, at the helm, we're hoping, the community is hoping at large that WoW will just feel better. Because since he's left, it's kind of, people have been like, yeah, WoW kind of lost some of that bite. Like, the stories have been interesting, but haven't really had any teeth to them.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't really felt Warcrafty, and so people are hoping that with him back, it'll make things feel a lot more Warcraft than it has in a while. We're gonna see how that goes. Chris in charge and bringing the team with him, and like this announcement is kind of them going, these are the cards we're putting on the table and what we want to do, and hopefully it does well, because it's really cool. I think it's really cool to see like a 3-part story like that, because it goes, here's what we're doing and what you can expect out of it.
Sure.
Like, we're not going to give you all the details, but like, here's what you can expect and where this is going. They're making, I think, a lot of positive changes. They're bringing the dynamic flying, which is the dragon riding stuff.
You like that a lot.
It's really fun, actually. It's really nice just zooming around. They're bringing that to the rest of the world.
Good.
They've already started it. You had a couple of races that you could do over in Kalimdor in the Eastern Kingdoms for Dragon Cup riding, for races, essentially, which let you do that. But they're bringing it to the wider World of Warcraft, and I think that's probably one of the reasons they're going to revamp Health Loss. It's because those zones you can't fly in. I know, I'm excited. I didn't really pay attention to much news for Diablo or StarCraft or Overwatch, because...
Well, Overwatch, yeah, that's not really our thing. I played some of the original Overwatch, and mostly just to realize that this really isn't my kind of game. That's, yeah. StarCraft, I love it, but I haven't played it since the original, so... Yeah.
And I haven't played it since Wings of Liberty.
Yeah, I didn't even play StarCraft 2, so I don't know. I was actually, I think, kind of... since they kind of shelved StarCraft Ghost, I was like, oh, they don't really... They're not really supporting the project, the world building.
To be a small tangent for StarCraft, the StarCraft 2 story was great. I didn't play all 3 of them because they sold it as a, hey, this is 3 different games,
which is stupid.
You have to buy instead of doing the 3 campaigns like the original one. So I was kind of like,
that
was good, but it wasn't good enough to make me want to buy it 3 times.
Yeah, that I thought was a little suspect.
The issue I had for StarCraft was that if you played StarCraft 2, like, the campaign was fine, but it really just felt like an extended tutorial through it.
Yeah.
So it was like, each mission we're going to introduce something new to it, and then you're going to know how all these units work. Oh, good, now you know how to play the game. Multiplayer.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I don't play StarCraft multiplayer because that's not fun. That's not fun at all.
You know what I never understood, and I know that there's always been rumblings about it, but I am kind of surprised that Blizzard didn't think, hey, what about if we did like World of Warcraft but with StarCraft? Did like Sea of StarCraft or something like that.
I mean, that's what Warcraft 3 was.
No, I mean like do World of Warcraft, but do StarCraft as World of Warcraft.
Oh, you mean a StarCraft MMO?
MMO, in the same kind of vein, where you could be either the Terrans or the Zerg or the Protoss, and you could explore whatever planet they were on, or whatever planet they were trying to...
I feel like that'd be hard. Maybe? I don't know. It'd be weird. Sci-fi MMOs don't always do the best.
I just like I like the idea that eventually you would have Terrans and you could still get like little Zerg pets, like little Zerglets instead of Zerglings. You get the little team. They would end up doing it. I swear to God, if they ever tried. But it would be a really good property, especially if they wanted to start something new. Because I would very much like to play a StarCraft MMO. Actually,
well, you would have to get back into MMOs in general, Nathan.
Yeah, I have trouble with them. I've thought about Eve at some point, like maybe tooling around in that, but I don't know.
It's free.
It is free.
I've been playing a bit of Eve lately, just because I can.
Yeah, Yeah. Is it good?
Um,
I thought it looked too complex for me to really
it's
jet into.
complex. Good is a strange word to ask about. It's interesting, it's different. It's not what you would expect from like a WoW.
Right.
It's deep,
Yeah.
but it's mainly functioned through context menus and stuff. So it's a different beast altogether.
Yeah, I think that's the problem that I had with a lot of MMOs, is that it kind of has to engage me before I'm at like a few hours, or I'm wondering what the point is, where I have to really understand what I'm doing and where, really feel good with playing the game, that I want to do it long term. And there's very few that really did that for me. I think WoW was the last one, but then it got grindy, and I didn't want to keep grinding. So...
Yeah. At least now the grind is more interesting, since last time you played they didn't have world quests.
No, they did not. No,
So these are like after you hit the max level and finish the main story, it's like, hey, cool. You're done with like the main story, you want to just do random quests throughout the world for rewards, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Like it
good.
goes, here are daily world quests you can do. Go
Sure.
have fun. And then even if you don't want to do that, there's always dungeons and other side quests and whatever you really want to do, which I think is nice.
Oh, sure.
I'm not a person who just wants to grind all the time unless I just want to grind.
Mm-hmm.
But the world quests, especially if you're like grinding reputation, make it a lot easier, because like, yes, I want to grind rep with this one faction. Let's see all the quests for this faction. Let's go. Boom, 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 boom.
Sure.
I don't know. I feel like you should give it another shot at some point, just because it's changed so much in the last 16 years.
Right. It's been a while for me. So.
It's been a while. But.
Yeah.
Hey,
you know what? Maybe next year, you know how I said I was going to do those second chances stuff, next year? Maybe on a live stream. Maybe I'll go back in. I'll play a little bit.
There you go.
That would be something.
You can try the Exiles Reach, a new starting area that they did for WoW. It's a tutorial zone.
Oh boy.
It's not great.
No.
It's not great. I mean...
Great.
You probably still remember mostly how to play.
Yeah. Yeah, I get how to play WoW.
Anyways,
Anyway,
if you followed any of BlizzCon stuff and that we didn't touch on, or if you have hopes and dreams for the future of Warcraft like I do, feel free to add your thoughts to our discussion over on Discord or down in the comments. I'm hoping that the future of Warcraft is better.
Sure.
Dragonflight has shown us that the game can be more fun again. The only issue people have had with Dragonflight is that it lacks that bite.
Yeah.
Like, the villains don't feel villainous enough. There doesn't seem to be stakes here where there should be. But overall, like, the game itself has been more fun. So if we can get the fun with that over-the-top dramatic like feeling of something is in peril,
Oh, sure.
I think Warcraft will be in good shape if they can manage to both threaten the world and make it feel like Warcraft, and also keep that fun going. So we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta threaten the world, or what's going on,
Yeah, as Bellular was saying, because I listen to them sometimes, Warcraft has always been like about the heroes and the big characters and stuff like that, and like dramatic moments and like sacrifice. It's like, if you give us those moments again, those big set pieces that feel really great, that'll be good. That'll be real good.
Yeah, certainly. If you are leaving comments down below, one thing I would kind of like to know is, in terms of the Blizzard properties, are you more Warcraft, StarCraft, or Diablo for the big three? What do you
I was
like
gonna say Blackthorn.
Oh, Blackthorn? Yeah. They gotta bring back some of those properties, too, at some point.
No.
They're too invested in, Overwatch and this thing, yeah. Oh, well. Blackthorn mentioned. Anyway, let us know in the comments down below how you feel about BlizzCon, and what you were excited about on this year's BlizzCon. And was it a blizzard for you? Or were you left out in the cold?
Or was it a con?